Coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts, we're talking with two outdoorsy, fabulous women about their outdoor adventures, from fire tower excursions to mishaps in the river and other adventures on the trail.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river tame, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth,
And
we're No Damn Experts.
Today, I am super excited to have our guests on the podcast because I have walked into the store that they occupy a number of times and said, help me figure this out. Or what on earth are we going to do about this problem I have, which was
They're your
directly,
therapists too, huh?
directly connected to the visitor guide.
Okay.
And I got most of the content for our day hikes on our visitor guide from these lovely ladies
Ooh,
from
super
Bighorn
helpful.
Outdoor Specialists.
Yay.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, we're happy to be here.
That was Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth Latham. I'm one of the very chatty owners of Bighorn Outdoor Specialists.
There we go. And to your left, we have...
Shelley Milburn. I am Beth's lovely sidekick on many adventures.
And Shelley is the one who told me all about the hikes. I walked
nice.
in, had visited with Chris, which is related to Beth, and said, I need to talk about day hikes and routes and something that visitors can do. And he's like, oh, yeah, I got the person directly for you. He's like, I'm not even going to
Nice.
tackle that. So out the maps come, and we're talking, and it was really helpful.
Nice.
Because you can read a lot of things online, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve is when they're like, oh, this is intermediate or this is beginner.
What does that mean?
Right.
It's very subjective. I
Really?
think that's very safe to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't trust any of those labels
right.
at all.
Because for some people, beginner might be a flat surface for 400
Right.
feet, or advanced might be Mount Kilimanjaro. It's just, it's very subjective.
So my first question for you ladies is, how many times do you judge people when they walk in and they're like, oh, we want to do some hiking? And you're like,
I ask for definitions first. What
that's
do you
good.
consider a long hike? What have you done before? Just because otherwise just like
No
you said, it's so
concept.
subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does hiking mean to you?
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of hike are
That's
you
a
doing?
good. That's a good point too. Like, what even does hiking
Right.
mean for
Sometimes hiking is just walking your dog along the river's edge trail.
people? Yeah.
Which,
It's great.
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
hiking
it's legit.
shoes is a hike.
Is lovely.
That's
and
the
for some-
qualification. The shoes.
Right. And for some people, it's a 30-pound pack and 15 miles a day and 1,400 vertical. And so that's Shelley,
that's you.
the second
Yeah.
category. She does both.
I do both.
She has a lovely dog that walks a lot along the river.
Lucky dog. Yeah.
She's very
It's a
happy.
good life. Mm-hmm.
But it's a pretty big span
Yeah.
of what hiking means to the person who's in front of us.
Yeah.
So, Shelley, I envy every word that comes out of your mouth. So why don't you share with the people that are listening your background?
I've never heard her tell anybody that before. You should be very honored. Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell the people about you, because you are my go-to person when it comes to safe information about actual details of a hike.
Real details here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I worked for the Forest Service for 20 years as firefighter part of the time and as a lookout the other part of the time. The last 7 years, I was actually back in the Bob Marshall Wilderness by myself. And so that's why maybe I'm a little more cautious about the solo hiking, just because, and by cautious, I might still do back-to-back 20-mile days and climbing all the things and doing the crazy stuff. But I'm thinking about it because I've just got so used to being there by myself with no backup. And I guess that's maybe what more.
How long have you been in the Great Falls market?
I've been working for Beth here for about 10 years. I want to say 10 years, just winters for a while, but I want to say I'm coming up on my 4th year round.
Okay.
So I guess 10-ish years.
Yeah. And there's a little background there. Shelley and I, in our previous life, when we worked at the fabulous Showdown, Montana ski area.
Oh, there we go.
Just adjacent to Great Falls.
Yes.
So we've been friends for 20 years doing nerdy things
Outdoor
in the outdoors
stuff.
together.
Hey, that makes sense. Have you ever tracked a log of how many miles you've put on?
Yes.
Ooh.
And all these retired ladies come into the store and they ask me, "Are you doing the 2020 challenge, which is where you hike or bike or run 2,020 miles in the year 2020?"
Oh my gosh.
So I've been trying to do that ever since, and I always come up about 100 miles short because I have a job.
Right. That doesn't
Unfortunately.
require you to go out and hike all day
Yeah.
Right.
today.
Just lets you talk about it all day.
Right. Which is the next best thing, really.
Right. Beth, what's your deal?
What's my deal?
Yeah.
With hiking?
Nah,
Or
just
just
in
in
general.
general?
Just in life.
How long you
everything.
been in the Great Falls area? How many miles have you put on in your life?
That was a really good question.
Yeah. We like to get personal
Can't
here.
keep track of any of those. Yeah.
I accidentally moved to Montana in 2001.
Okay.
My husband grew up here in Great Falls, and his family was Air Force related, and so wound up somewhere else for a while, but never really forgave his family for leaving Montana.
Okay. That makes
They
sense.
moved to the Midwest.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little more flat. A lot more
But they
corn.
always kept their cabin
Okay.
in Nyhart, outside of Great Falls. And so he had always come back here, and we were in a transitional life phase, and then suddenly we were in Montana. And through a series of comedic happenings, I still don't really know how it happened, we wound up working at Showdown from 2001 until 2009.
Oh.
And then stars aligned and people seemed to think we could do it. And so we took over the only local independent outdoor store for hundreds of miles in any direction. Literally.
Yeah.
It's Montana,
Yeah.
you guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's a drive
These are real
to get
stories.
somewhere else.
We don't bring liars on here.
No.
Yeah.
So this is true.
Rebecca's the only one.
And so I grew up in the East Coast, and I grew up cross country skiing and hiking and swimming and being outside a lot. And then when I met Chris, he is one of the original adrenaline boys, I say.
Yeah.
He's a skier and a mountain biker and a whitewater kayaker and a through hiker. And, so I do all the same things that he does. I just do them at a much slower pace.
Hey, my
Sorry,
kind of
you're
gal.
still doing them, man.
Right, I'm doing it.
that's-
So part of my shtick is that adventures come in all sizes. You don't have to be a super extreme 20-mile-a-day hiker.
Mm-hmm.
If you're out there doing it and you're having fun, that's what matters.
Right.
Right. I agree.
There's no medal for you if you
No.
like
They're not going to take
Yeah.
away your birthday if you
Right.
do it wrong. I mean, as long as
Right.
you're safe and
you're
having
getting
fun.
out and doing it.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
It doesn't have to be a sufferfest.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Unless you
And that-
want to.
You're right. But if that makes it unenjoyable and you don't want to do it anymore,
Right.
then that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to live where we do. We have
Yeah.
access to amazing
gosh.
public lands
Yeah.
literally all around us.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to live where people wait all year to come take their hiking vacations.
Yeah. So true.
And so
mm-hmm.
we
True.
should take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
So this public land thing you touched on is really kind of a unique thing. I learned from other people who don't live in Montana.
Yeah.
Having access to the land that we do, just to be able to walk up and go, I'm just going to spread out here
Yeah.
and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Because,
Within reason.
right, within some recreating responsibly guidelines,
Yeah.
you're not going to
Ideally.
pitch a tent and live there.
Mm-hmm.
But these are open lands, which isn't something people are really accustomed to.
No. And I'm from the East, and you didn't have this in large part. There were definitely some national forest lands that you could access, but not like this, where it's just literally all around
I
you.
didn't even
It's
think
so
about
easy.
that because we take that for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the craziest thing because, when I've traveled, people are like, well, how do you, where's the trail or how do you get to the spot? Or I'm like, well, it's this, and then I open the map and I show them the entire Little Belt Mountains or the Rocky
Right.
Mountains.
And it blows their mind.
And they're like, so you can just go there whenever you want? I'm like, yep.
Yep. Pretty much.
Pretty much the deal.
Yeah.
And from Great Falls as a base camp, you've got the Little Belts to the east and south of us. You got the Rocky Mountains to the west. You've got high woods. You've got the Big Belts to the south of us. Just amazing opportunities to explore, which, I mean, after 111, 12 episodes, you people know this.
I hope so. I hope they've gotten something of that. Yeah.
I mean, we've mentioned it before. This is not new information. But, Shelley, do you have a favorite mountain range?
I am definitely in love with the Rocky Mountain front.
Okay.
I grew up outside Helena, and those are fun mountains too. But when I first came, I live in Shoto actually, and when I first came up there, or actually when my husband and I bought our house there, and we were driving between Great Falls and Shoto, and you could just see the mountains on the horizon just getting bigger and bigger, and it was spring, so they were snow-capped like they are now in blue, with the prairie in front of it. It was just like I felt like I was coming home. It was beautiful.
Very postcardy.
Yeah.
It is, and we've told people, I think we even said it the other day, the drive from the east towards the west is just the most dramatic and the funnest drive, because you're like, it's beautiful here, and now I'm getting closer and closer to this thing.
We had a friend come out and visit this fall, and he described it as relentlessly scenic. Just like,
oh, I like that. We'll have to use that verbiage.
Go. Yeah, look that way. Look that way.
Yeah, there's something
everywhere.
And
it's different. Like, you keep turning, which is kind of a nice way to phrase that. Like, we were in the Arrow Creek, just for a scenic drive south of Geraldine, the Arrow Creek Badlands, I'm going to call it. And I'm like, this is stunning. And my husband's like, you've never seen this before? I'm like, have you ever taken me here before? And he's like, no, this is the first time I've ever taken you here. Then how would I have ever seen it before?
That's the beautiful thing about Great Falls too, because we have the mountains, but we also have the prairie, and the prairie can be spectacular, especially if you get out and walk through it and look at it up close and personal. It's not that great just driving through it, but if you get out and smell it and walk in and out of the little coulees, and we have so much state land and BLM land out here that you can access. That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, the River's Edge Trail system here in Great Falls, I think most people are kind of aware of the paved section.
Right.
But there's a whole other section that offers really amazing little day hikes or mountain biking. Like, there's tons of things going on out there.
And you quickly feel out of town or out of the paved area.
Yeah.
Like
it's like
you're quickly transported
5 minutes
on
down
that.
the trail, you're like, oh,
I'm out.
Exhale.
Yeah, totally.
And there's so many accessible trailheads on the River's Edge Trail.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I took my aunt and then wrote a blog about this to the South Shore Trailhead.
That's my favorite.
And we're the only people there.
Yeah, it's not crowded at all.
If you, that's the thing that's wonderful about Great Falls for people who don't realize. If you pull up to a trailhead in Great Falls on a Saturday morning,
right,
you might see 2 other cars.
Yeah,
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that in some other areas of our state, which shall remain nameless,
right? Because
you wouldn't be able to park. You'd have to park down the highway and hitch to the trailhead.
Get to that,
yeah. So we've got something right, something figured out.
Yeah.
And now there was someone who joined us on the trail. We were just the first there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
One other person,
right?
And they were on a bike.
It's a lot of
a
lot of space there for you. Yeah.
There was a point when he passed us. I'm like, he's really got the better idea. Like, cause we're going because that trail's got a lot of little ups and downs.
The South Shore is we get a lot of pictures from. We have one of our faithful followers on Instagram will share photos with us, and he's a big biker, and a lot of them are from the South Shore area.
Yeah. It's very scenic.
You all may know him, so I'm going to do the name drop.
Okay, go for it.
We've had him on the podcast, but the
Instagram
photo that I saw of his this morning, Chance Benedict.
Yeah.
He's in the shop like
all the time.
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like him a lot.
Chance,
so do we.
The photo today was epic.
Ooh, I'm going to have to go find and share that.
It was so amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what time you were there. Obviously, it had to have been
pretty early. Yeah.
to get that sunrise shot.
Yeah.
But,
He has some incredible photos.
we had a photo of an area that I've not been to. Big surprise, because there's a lot I haven't done. But the Box Elder Creek
I want
area.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
And that's, right in town.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get this picture, and it's just the coolest winter picture that I've ever seen. So we asked, where are you at? And he goes, Box Elder Creek. And so then my former colleague, Maudie, comes out of her office. She's like, where's Box Elder Creek? I'm like, I don't know. So I go to the state map. And I'm starting to look around.
Yeah.
It's Box Elder.
It's right over there.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't even see it on the map.
Right.
And so we spend, I'm not kidding you, like 20, 30 minutes trying to find Box Elder Creek on the state highway map. And I'm like, maybe just ask him, like, where it's at.
Specifically is this?
And
Yeah.
he comes back with River's Edge Trail. So we pull out the River's Edge Trail map. I'm like, oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
Just right there. Yeah.
It's right
But
in town.
It's a little further out though, because maybe you can answer this question, because I have not been there to the Box Elder Creek and I really want to go there sometime. It's either a very, very committed long hike, correct? Or you bike there.
I think that's the answer. Isn't it like 7 miles from the end of the pavement?
I think so.
To one way,
To one
correct?
way. So
Yeah.
it'd
Right.
be,
Yeah.
figure on a 14, 15 mile day, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it in August.
So on
no.
a bike,
Yeah.
that's a long morning ride,
Right.
but not a crazy one.
Yeah.
Right.
And hiking in August is a different story than hiking in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I would probably do it in the spring or the fall. I think
Yeah.
that would be. I haven't done it yet either, and that's on my list too.
Yeah.
Of places I need to get to.
Yeah.
How long, Shelley, would it take you to do 14 miles? You're a seasoned hiker.
this is a loaded question.
Right.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
depends
up
on
and
how
down
How
up
many
and
times
down
you
it is.
stop?
Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I with her?
Okay,
That's the first question.
it's a different story if I'm by myself than if I'm with literally any other human.
Okay.
And it doesn't even seem to matter if that human is an experienced hiker. Just adding one more person,
Mm-hmm. It just
that's
changes.
twice the potty stops, because you don't always have to pee in the same.
That's
time.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You
by myself, I'm a pretty solid 2 miles an hour. Doesn't seem to matter what I have on my back or how far I'm going.
Uh-huh.
It's 2 miles an hour because I'm going to stop. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to
Yeah.
play in the creek.
Totally.
And then I might be moving 3 miles an hour for a while. And then, ooh, look, a rock. Ooh, look, butterflies. And I get all distracted.
Yeah.
But I can, that's
2 miles an hour. And when
Pretty
Beth's with you, Beth
We-
drags you down to
Well-
about.
I like my snacks, you guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
snacks are key with that.
Snacks
Well,
in
you
the
want to
outdoors
enjoy
is a
the
real
process,
thing.
right?
Exactly.
You want to
Right.
enjoy the journey.
And you're
not-
going to talk, and
Yeah.
that slows you down a little
Right.
bit. And
Yeah.
it's a different adventure when you're with someone, because then it's about the company as much as it is about the trail.
Right. Yeah.
And Shelley has that gene of, ooh, look at the top of that thing. Let's climb to
Let's
the top
climb
of that
that.
thing. Just see what we can see from there. And
Yeah.
then as soon as she
One
gets,
more ridge.
she
One
gets to
more
the top of
ridge.
that thing,
That's
she's like,
great.
ooh, let's
Let's
just go
go there.
little.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's great.
Okay.
You're like,
That's a real
you're like this
disease.
just added like 5 more miles.
Yeah, but we're fine, which is
Yeah.
why when you're hiking with Shelley, you always carry extra snacks,
Snacks.
Yeah.
extra water,
And tell me when to stop.
and I walk
Yeah.
in front.
That's key.
So
You put Shelley in the
so
back.
You can
Yep.
Pro
kind of-
tip for people who
Yeah.
are hiking with
Uh-huh.
people who hike differently than you: put the slower person in front.
then
Yeah.
you can control the pace. That's very important.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good insider tip.
Yeah. Does that ever frustrate you to just be like, I want to go. I want to go.
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, when you're hiking
You
with
can be
someone,
honest here.
Yeah.
I do have to adjust expectations. Like,
Sure.
I'm here to be with my friends.
Right.
I'm not here to
can
make
enjoy
miles.
this.
That's
Right.
that's a different day.
Different day. Yeah.
Making miles when you're by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does your dog speed you up, slow you down? Well, how does
No, well, she's
Both.
yeah?
yeah. Depends on what phase of the hike we're in.
Okay. Yeah.
If we're on leash, she definitely speeds me up.
Uh-huh.
If we're out in the mountains and I can let her off, then we
Yeah.
just both go our own pace. And she's wise enough now that she knows
When to check
if we're still hiking after 2 miles, she needs to slow down and pace
she needs to
herself a
pace
little.
herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's learned that.
Yep.
What kind of dog is she?
She's a yellow lab.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she's the more hunting sort of lab. So
Okay.
she's very lean and very much likes to run.
Mm.
She's a bird dog.
Yeah.
we can
Okay.
just
She's
say
got
it.
a lot of
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Well, then she has
Which-
a perfect
Yep.
Yeah.
She's
human
a good little
then.
trail
Yeah.
dog, actually. Mhm.
That's great. I do want to real quick divert back to when you mentioned you lived basically on your own for 7 years in the Bob Marshall?
7 summers, I should say. So
that's still a lot.
80, 90 days at a time, somewhere in there.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think to so many, like, that would be just such a totally foreign, scary concept.
Absolutely amazing.
Or, depending on your personality, right? What were your days like when you were doing that?
They were very uneventful.
Okay.
Until they weren't.
Yeah. I was like, that's probably good, because the type of eventful is...
It could be interesting. For me, it was not as big a transition as it would be for some, because I worked at the lookout. There's a lookout at the top of Showdown ski area, and I worked there for many years. And that one's, yes, you're out there by some people's standards, but it's still pretty public. I would get on average about 10 visitors a day in the summer, because you can drive there in July and August. So, we got a lot of...
What is this thing?
Yeah.
Exactly. What are you doing up here?
Are you going to the bathroom?
Are you here by yourself?
Where's your TV?
Yeah.
All those questions.
Yeah.
And so I was actually kind of ready for a break from the hordes of people.
Sure.
Because 10 people a day is a horde of people.
It is quite a bit of people.
Yeah.
Parading through your bedroom.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to pet your cat.
Yeah.
That was
not open to the public, people.
Right.
Well, it kind of was, because I was like the visitor contact on weekends, because the Forest Service offices were closed. So people would come up, and that would be kind of a good positive. Hey, this is the friendly Forest Service. Look at that. That's Big Baldy. That's Niagara Baldy. And I'd list all the mountains and answer all the questions and things like that.
Send them on their hike.
Yep.
But in the Bob, how many visitors a day did you get?
Human visitors.
1 year, I got 1 visitor.
Okay.
That was my lowest.
Was that kind of weird though, to suddenly have a
person showing up?
Yeah, luckily that person I happened to be expecting, because we'd arranged it back in May before I came up. It is a little disconcerting, because at Porphyry I could hear them driving. I could hear them coming for a long way. I was up high. I could see. It was very secure. I could lock them out if I had to.
Yeah.
At Bear Top, I was right on the ground, and just the shape of the mountain, unless you went out and peeked over the edge, you couldn't really see people coming up the trail. I mean, I could sit in my little chair and look at the mountains and look for smokes, but I couldn't see the trail from where I was sitting. So they would just pop up out of nowhere. Sometimes bears would
that
pop
would be
up
disconcerting. Yeah, because there's not supposed to be other humans. So
right. Surprise.
Yeah.
And if my back happened to be turned on the trail when they showed up, I mean, usually they were very polite, and they'd from a distance say hello, so they didn't just boo right behind me. Yeah. That would have been upsetting.
Yeah. Okay.
And you just hope you're wearing pants when it happens.
Right. I mean, at home, when my husband turns the corner, I freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh. He's like, yep, I've lived here for a long time.
Yeah, I somehow startle my husband daily. I'm like, I live here. You knew I was in the room. Yeah.
Yep. And yet there you were.
There I am. So were you in a tent during this?
I was in a, that one would have been an L4 lookout cab, which was their heydays was in the 1930s. Most of them were built by the CCC. And mine was kind of the little cute one. I wish I could remember the dimensions. The lookout purists are going to be so upset when I get this wrong. I want to say it's a 14 by 14.
Okay.
And the R1, which is the one that was up at Porphyry, that's a 16 by 16, I think. Which wouldn't seem like a big difference, but it really was.
It is.
And especially when the wilderness lookout, you're also trying to fit in a wood stove as well as a cook stove and all your stuff. You don't have a car to store anything in, so you're just there. It was pretty tight quarters. You had just enough room on one side of and in the middle of it, there's a fire finder, which is what the map tool that we would use to locate fires so that we could call them in when we saw one. And that dominated the whole center of the room. So you had to walk around. And you can maybe lay a yoga mat out between that and the stove on one side.
Oh, wow.
There wasn't a lot of space. But it was right on the ground. You could just walk out the door, and your living room is 100 miles in every direction. So that made it seem less claustrophobic.
Sure.
So nice.
And what were you, so you're a fire scouter. What does that, for people who don't know what were you doing? What did that involve?
I was literally there to not fall asleep. I had 2 jobs. One was listening to the radio. Okay. I would take check-ins from crews that were in the field just so that they always had someone to keep in contact with. I would relay messages because sometimes you can't, radio signals go in a straight line. They don't go up mountains and down the other side. So they might have to talk to me, and then I would signal to the person on the other side of the mountain, just kind of acting as an intermediary. And then my other job was looking for forest fires. And then once I found them, I've got to use the fire finder, which is the mapping tool that I spoke of, to figure out exactly where their location is, call it into the dispatch office, and then keep everybody updated while they were deciding how many people to send, what do we do with this?
Yeah.
How are we going to manage this fire?
Wow.
So, changing gears, you wouldn't really know it, but it is winter here in Great Falls today.
It's coming tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Winter's
We'll
coming
know
back
it.
tomorrow.
I've heard this
Yeah.
a number of times. It was supposed to be here last weekend, too.
Yeah.
But in the mountains, we do have snow. So Showdown is open, running their lifts, doing their thing. We also have amazing day hiking in the winter, as well as overnight. I've heard of people doing winter camping. Not going to be my thing.
It's a special subset of
Yeah,
humans
it's-
that
yeah.
enjoy that.
Type 2 fun.
Yeah. So that's a possibility for you adventurers to do overnights in the winter in a tent, which I'm not going to recommend until I've done it, which I will never do. But there is a Silvercrest recreation area. So we've talked about a lot of day hiking and how you can get equipped for that at Bighorn Outdoor Specialists. But there's also other things you can get equipped for there, which is outdoor winter recreation. Skis,
Yeah.
snowshoes,
Yeah.
cross-country skis.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
I know.
All the things.
Winter coats,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
winter
Those
socks.
base layer,
Yeah.
hats, something to
All
stop
of
the
the
wind.
things.
Yeah.
All of those things. So, yeah, winter in Montana is long. I don't think this is a secret.
Nope. It's
We all know
not
it.
news.
And we live in Montana for the beautiful outdoors. And so we need to find a way to learn to enjoy it. And so, there's different kinds of activities for different personality types and different levels of those activities. You can put on a pair of cross-country skis and go ski around your horse pasture if you want to.
Yeah.
That's
Lots
a
of
great
people
one,
do.
actually.
Yeah. And then, if you want to climb a mountain on your AT skis or your split board and then earn your backcountry turns, you can do that as well. And there's everything in between.
Yeah.
And probably the gateway drug to winter activity is snowshoeing.
And actually, that is my favorite winter activity.
Is it?
Of all the skiing and the cross-country skiing, which is fun too.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
you
if the
can
snow-
have a favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if the snow conditions are less than perfect,
Yeah.
snowshoeing,
true.
you're always in control. You don't have, there's never a long, wild toboggan ride down an icy
No.
groove
That's a good
logging
point,
road.
because it's potentially a lot more effort on your part.
Definitely more work
But-
involved.
But yeah, you are more in control of it.
Yeah.
That's a good
and,
point.
And it's a skill that you already have. Most of us can walk.
Most
Right.
of us.
Most of us.
Right. Yeah. Without
most
tripping.
of us can walk.
Yeah.
And we get you poles. So
Right.
that helps too.
Yeah,
for
That definitely
balance.
helps.
But it's something that little kids can do. 3 and
Big
4-year-olds
kids?
can do it. Big kids can do it. Young people, old people, fit people, not so fit people
Yep.
can
Doesn't
all do
matter.
it. Yeah. It's easy.
We had Jerry Jennings on the podcast, and truth checker, she says, obviously, what Beth just did, she yells at us and says, well, if you can walk, you can snowshoe. Well,
Which is a good thing. It's
Clearly.
nothing to
It's-
sneeze at.
It's really true. It really is.
the other thing she said, her words of wisdom, layer like an onion.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You get so hot and sweaty. I was
Yeah.
out yesterday. I think I was just wearing my base layer for most of it. And then I had a windbreaker on over the top for
Yeah.
part of it that was windy. And then in the trees, gosh, I was just stripped down to my base layer.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
you're moving. Like,
yeah,
'cause
you're
it's-
moving. You're getting
It's
very
more
sweaty.
effort than normal walking. Mm-hmm.
And if
Yeah.
I'm honestly, if I'm going on a long trip by myself, I bring a dry base layer because,
Yeah.
man, I get wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
She moves.
Working it up.
I do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you gotta be able to see what's over the next horizon.
Exactly.
And you're not going to be
One
able to
more
do
ridge.
that.
One
What's
more
around the
ridge.
corner? Yeah.
Yeah.
But layers, and our weather can change quickly, as we all know. So being prepared and wearing lots of different layers lets you adjust. And then, of course, having your bag with you that has the emergency whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully, most times you're just taking things off and putting it in that
Right.
bag rather than taking things out and
Yeah,
putting it
yeah.
on.
But,
But it's important.
You need
Both
that.
options.
Yeah.
I have
might
done
be
that.
there.
One day I used all of the clothing in my bag. I had to put on the dry base layer. I had to put on the puffy coat over
Yeah.
the windbreaker. I had to put on my big survival mittens. I had to put on my goggles because suddenly it was snowing
Oh my
sideways and I
gosh.
was 4 miles from the truck.
Holy
it was
cow.
great. It was
Yeah.
just a magnificently crappy day. It was
And she
gorgeous.
came back and she was so excited
It was
to tell us
smiling.
about
Oh my
her
gosh.
fantastically crappy hike.
I love that. The magnificently crappy hike.
Yep.
That's
because
fantastic.
there's crappy, and then there's like, oh my gosh, look at the snow
it's
coming
so
over
cool.
this mountain.
Yeah.
It was really.
Where was
really
that?
good. That one I want to say was Jones Creek, which is off the middle fork of the Teton, kind of going up toward Teton ski area on the Rocky Mountain front. And there's actually some very good snowshoe trails up there, and because there's a ski area, the road's open and you can get to the trailheads.
Yeah.
And there's some that even take off right from the ski area there. And then I go have a burger afterwards to reward myself.
Yeah, go to the lodge.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They do have a good burger.
Yeah, they
The
do.
food is
I am.
not
This has
too
been
bad.
Rebecca's one experience.
I went up to Teton, not to ski.
Okay, that's fair.
just for the lodge.
And the view.
Yeah,
It's very
views
pretty.
and the beer and the burger.
Yeah.
That's an amazing trip. It was the best trip ever, and I'm sure the skiers there. And I've said this before. Like I'm walking up there in my cute jeans and my boots and my sweater with my purse. And they're like, "What the heck is
She
going on
lost,
with this
yeah.
woman?" And so we walk in and we're like, "We're just here for lunch." They're like, "That's fine."
Yeah.
And the skier,
We'll take your money.
the
Yeah.
skier jumps up from the table. He's like, "You can take my table." I'm like, "Oh no, we're just here for lunch.
You're actually doing
You're
things.
here to ski. You go ahead and use the table. Our food's not here yet. I can stand and drink beer. I've done it a lot. Pre-season at it. Don't worry about us." And he's like, "Well, I'm just getting done so I can go back out on the slopes." I'm like, "Perfect. Then we will take your
Good for
table."
you.
There
We'll
you
watch
go.
you. We'll cheer you on.
Everybody's happy.
But beautiful area, so I can attest to the burger. I did not earn it that day, but
But that's
I
okay.
still-
You did.
You had it.
You made
Yes.
that whole drive from Great Falls. So
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
not
and
bad.
I
That's true.
walked from the parking
did.
lot all the
Yeah.
way
It's
up.
uphill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From the
that-
parking lot
that's
into
legit.
the bar.
Totally counts.
That worked. Yeah. worked out.
So I don't like to jump all in with a new sport. My spouse believes you should jump all in with a new sport. So the only way you can go golfing, he tells me, is if we buy clubs. I'm like, I think they rent clubs. We could
Right.
borrow,
Yes.
rent them,
Right.
see if this is our
Before
thing
you
before
invest.
we invest in clubs. Also, I don't know if I'm going to be a good golfer. Maybe all I need is crappy clubs versus good clubs.
Right.
So that preface for this. If I want to start to get into snowshoeing, is there a way I can rent snowshoes?
Yeah. We do that.
Oh, look at that.
And
How convenient.
We rent several different kinds of snowshoes, which is
Oh.
important because I think my husband and I went through 3 or 4 different pairs before we found one we really fell in love with.
Yeah.
And of course we picked very different ones because we're very different people.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
either way, it worked out. And
Yeah.
and not all snowshoes are created equally. Some of them are maybe a little easier to work the bindings on if you have carpal tunnel or arthritis, and others take a little more strength and flexibility to get down and really buckle yourself in. And some are bigger, so you can take bigger adventures on looser snow, and others are smaller, so you're more agile and tight tree trails. So you have to figure out what sort of snowshoer you are first, and if you rent, you can try them first and see which one you bond with.
Yeah.
See
Try
what
before
kind
you
of-
buy.
Yes.
Yeah.
See
We
what
rent
kind of
what we
snowshoer
sell,
you
so
are.
it's
Pretty
literally
easy.
That makes it easy to
Yeah.
be like, okay, I like these.
Yeah.
I want to dive in on them.
Exactly.
And snowshoes have come a long way too. I remember growing up, my parents had like a decorative pair
Oh, yeah.
Tennis
of
rackets?
snowshoes that
The
looked
big
like
wooden
the
ones.
old wooden
Yeah.
ones with the leather straps.
Those are real
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah. I feel like
They
it's
were
good that
probably
we.
awesome in the 20s.
You're right.
Yeah,
Right.
And
Yeah.
they keep you above the snow, which
Right.
is the main
They did
thing.
the purpose, but they've come a long way. We have
have.
some, I guess they were fiberglass, maybe? I don't know what they.
Aluminum.
Aluminum,
and
they're
like
really light.
It's like a composite. I don't know what the stuff is, but some sort of a composite decking material.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
so much lighter and narrower. That's the thing is you can, with the big wide tennis racket ones, it was you waddled a lot and it was kind of heck on your hips.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the new ones, honestly, I hardly even notice I'm wearing them once I get them on and start walking because they're so narrow that I can have a pretty natural
normal
stride.
stride.
And they actually even make different ones for men and women because the way we walk, women tend to walk with their feet closer together.
Yeah.
And we have shorter legs and therefore we have shorter strides. So
So
they
it does
change
make a difference
it-
between men and women.
a little
in them.
bit.
Okay.
If you're strapping 6-foot Amazon, yes, I'll totally put you in the men's shoe because you'll have a big enough stride to accommodate it. And I'm right on the line. I can use the men's shoes, but I have to think about it more.
Oh.
The women's ones, I just put them on
You
and
just
go.
walk normally.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're not a shoe in and of itself. You have to wear a shoe
It's
in
a shoe
addition.
accessory.
There we go. What
of
kind of shoe do you need to wear in order to put on a snowshoe? Because you could do snow boots, you could do
Well, we've seen some things. Not all of them were
are good ideas.
kosher, I guess.
Don't take your Uggs.
Yeah.
No
Crocs.
No on the
No
Uggs.
Crocs.
You're not slipping around in it.
You want a shoe that holds onto your foot. So like a good, and at the very least, you want it to be waterproof and ankle high. So I'd say a waterproof ankle high hiking boot would be enough on a nice day. Like yesterday, that would have been more than enough. If it's a magnificently crappy day, then you're going to want an insulated snow boot that comes up a little higher. And if you have short boots, you can put gaiters over the top to keep the snow out of them. That's a way to make almost anything work. But the waterproof is key, or you're going to be, unless you're just going out for 10 or 20 minutes, that's not such a big deal. But if you're going to be away from the truck, waterproof for sure.
Yeah.
Something comfortable to walk in.
And you don't need to do it on a trail system like Silvercrest. You can
Yeah, you can go anywhere. Just
anywhere you would normally go day hiking.
Yeah. You just have
Or
to be
hiking.
able to get to the parking area, and then you have to make sure that you can find your way back, which usually just means following your own tracks.
Yeah.
But if the snowstorm comes, then you kind of have to pay attention, because that could make it a little obscured.
Right. And so a lot of times we encourage people to go with a friend who already does it, or
Always
to go
good.
someplace that they already know. So go take your favorite summer day hike in the wintertime with snowshoes on. I think every resident of Cascade County has hiked to Memorial Falls.
If you haven't,
you're the only one. And you should go do it.
Yeah.
But just, that's a great little itty bitty beginner hike for snowshoes. It's along a creek. It's super pretty. It's close to the highway.
Low commitment, high reward.
Yep.
Yeah. And so doing something like that, or going to Silvercrest where there's a nested trail loop system
And it's marked, and it's not intimidating.
There's maps. There's
There's someone
friendly
else there.
people. The parking lot is mostly plowed most of the time.
That's a good beginner. And Showdown has a trail too, I think.
Yeah,
still,
Showdown
that,
has
that I mapped out when I worked there. And suddenly became obsessed with snowshoes one winter. And that's kind of a fun one. And that's a fun one to do if the rest of your family skis and you're just not
just
into
like,
it.
Yeah.
You're like,
some people don't like to slide.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And if
It's
you don't
okay.
want to slide, that's fine. There's so many other ways to get out and enjoy the snow.
I've snowshoed in that area before, not as a in place of skiing, but just my family growing up, we like to go snowshoe. So that was that was a fun thing to do around. I've never actually done Silvercrest, I don't think, but I've snowshoed at that part that starts by Showdown, the one that you did, I guess. Yeah.
The one that
your trail.
one she made.
Yes. Her trail. Is there a certain type of, so we've been talking about going where there's already trails, or your day hike where it's mapped out. Is there a type of snow or situation that you shouldn't approach with your snowshoes?
Well,
Yes. or rather approach with caution. I mean, the big winter thing is avalanches, so you don't want to go climbing up to the beautiful rocky peak unless you have taken an avalanche class and know what to look for. Stay where there's trees and stay on lower angle slopes. That's the big safety one. The smaller safety one is more of an inconvenience, but if you can see the tips of little baby trees sticking up through the snow, or the bits like willows that are buried in the snow, there's almost always going to be air pockets there because the snow isn't consolidated. And suddenly, instead of, and this is slight sidetrack here, you're not, when you're wearing snowshoes, going to magically float along the top of the snow.
You still sink,
you sink a little bit.
They are not hover shoes.
Right.
However,
They're snowshoes.
Yeah.
However, me being a nerd that I am, I take sometimes when I'm out there and there's a bunch of fresh snow, I'll take my ski pole and I'll turn it upside down and I'll see how far down it'll go. And poking it all the way to the ground, the snow might be 3 feet deep, but I'm only sinking in 8 inches. So you're going to sink in 25 to 30% of the total snow, unless it's really packed, and then you're not going to sink it all. And the snowshoe's just a big crampon. But when you get to that spot with the little baby trees poking out or the air pockets, you are going to go all the way to the bottom, and then it's going to be a pain in the butt to get out because you're going to be fighting through the branches, and it's just not the most pleasant. You can do better. So just give those a wide berth.
And what about around creeks, streams?
Pay attention to the ice bridges.
Okay.
Because everyone that doesn't gets a wet foot. I think we've
And a
all
wet
been
foot 4 miles from the truck
not the best.
is not the greatest.
Right.
Unless you have an extra pair of socks and an extra pair of shoes.
Which you
and-
should
Should
hopefully
have
have
extra
extra socks.
Yeah.
'Cause you could use them as gloves in a pinch if you had to.
Yeah. And there's one in every group, we joke.
Yeah.
I'm the one in
Yeah,
every
Right.
group.
I turned and looked at Rebecca. You couldn't see me.
Yeah.
But
That's why it's a podcast.
Right.
But yeah,
And
I'm
so-
the one.
when you're going into the outdoors with a group of people, it's important to moderate
Identify
your
who's the one.
expectations to the lowest common denominator and and do that level of adventure.
Watch out for that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went whitewater rafting in the Absorki.
Did you stay in the boat?
I'm going to guess no from the look on your face.
In our safety briefing, I was told if you fall out of the boat, which is highly unlikely, don't freak out, just stand up. And I'm like, oh, that's a good piece of information.
You're that like 10% that fell
Yeah.
on the boat.
And you did.
Going down the river, I fall
job.
out the boat. Like, it's not even a rapid, and I fall out the boat. And I'm like,
Were you
of course
were you
it's me.
reaching for a beer and the
No, it was like a
Just
team
fell out.
building.
Yeah.
I was with colleagues. I'm
Yeah.
You just self-destructed for
So
a
then
second.
I-
It happens.
stand up.
Yeah.
But the problem was in my safety briefing, like I just stand up and stood there. Like they didn't say
What happens
What
after you
happens next?
stand up?
because the boat kept
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
It was highly unlikely that you were going to fall out.
Right. So they're like,
there
oh, we
was
won't worry
no
about
direction after stand up. Am I
dear.
supposed to walk and
Or
am I
just-
supposed to just lift
Stay in
up
one
and
place.
float?
What do you do?
What's my next step here?
that. Did they notice right away that
Oh,
you fell?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
I was
good.
going to say their staff had a meeting after your
Yeah.
trip
You're like, okay.
about explaining step 2.
further beyond standing up. Yeah.
So that I am the lowest common denominator. My
That's what
mom
these rules are
suggested
made
we
for.
go for a family ski day. I'm like, ski is probably not a solid plan for me. Like I know my skill set.
You sound
But you
more
can
like
hang
a
out
snowshoe.
in the lodge.
Yeah.
Or snowshoe. Yeah,
snowshoe.
exactly.
And that's what I suggested was maybe we could go snowshoeing. That
Yeah.
seems like a skill level we might all contain.
Especially on a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
It's so pretty out.
Beautiful.
We're in the middle of this story too, so we don't know how this
Yeah.
potential trip comes together yet.
More to come on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
TBD. Yeah. I do want to ask too, because, we talk about going with groups, going with people, when you're hiking, you're out and about. But you've also mentioned that you go
By yourself.
by yourself. When do you recommend that it's okay to go by yourself? And then what extra steps do I need to take to safely go out hiking, snowshoeing, whatever, by myself?
As to when, I think that's a very subjective question, and I don't know. I guess it depends on your experience level and your confidence.
Sure.
I would say when you feel you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a little bit of a caveat, because there's the whole feeling like you know it all.
Yeah.
And then finding
Right.
out the hard way
Yes.
that
I
you
don't.
So I would say it's okay to go by yourself as long as you go with humility.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that having done the opposite.
Yeah.
And
This is a
there's
fantastic story. You have to hear
Yeah.
this story.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yay.
I really wanted to go backpacking. It was May. It was snowing in the high country, but I was like, I'll just go up and over this little pass. The snow's not accumulating. I'll go down the other side. It's going to be like 9 miles. I'll camp and I'll come out the next day. And I was getting a late start. It was already lunchtime when I left the house. I drove for an hour. I get to the trail. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. And I forgot my trekking poles. I'm like, oh, crap. I always hike with trekking poles
Okay.
because I had a bad knee at one point and that helped. And honestly, I think the fatigue level is a lot less using the poles rather than not.
Yeah.
My feet hurt less. So I had these poles that I had forgotten, and I have to first of all cross the Teton River up pretty high, so it's narrow there. And I've crossed it before in that exact spot, and it was fine. But I hadn't crossed it in May,
Oh.
when the water was maybe a
Higher.
little more aggressive than it was when I did it in
And
July.
seemingly colder.
And
Yeah.
also,
It was snow like
it was
3
literally
minutes ago.
snowing. I mean, at the tops of the mountains, it's snowing right
Yeah.
now. So I'm thinking, okay, I have everything I need in my pack. I'm prepared. I can do this. I'll get out the other side, and I'll be fine. Even without the poles, I'll be fine. And since I didn't have poles, this is when I made mistake number 2. Instead of tying my hiking boots to my pack, I just held them in my hands because I don't have anything else in my hands.
Oh, of course.
I might as well just hold my shoes, and if something happens, I'll just hook them for the shore and pick them up when I get across. Well, something happened. There was a hole that I had forgotten about right in the middle, and suddenly I went from knee deep to hip deep, and then once you take that kind of a step, suddenly you're in the water's in your face because
Yeah.
you
And
fell
it's
down.
cold.
And it's cold, and
You drop your
and my hat goes off, and I'm
Oh,
trying to save because it's
no.
my favorite hat, so I'm trying to save my favorite hat, and I had thrown the shoes. And as I'm rescuing the hat and trying to stand back up, I noticed one of my boots rolling back down the bank.
Oh,
and
no.
it floated by me just out of reach.
Oh, no.
But remember who I hike with. a Labrador
dog?
retriever.
Yes.
And I just went, fetch. She didn't even know what I was pointing at, but she knows anything that's different, she'll bring to you.
finds.
So she just leapt into the river, and I remember looking over my shoulder going, oh, crap, because the dog is sailing down the river pursuing this boot, and there was a rapid coming up. I go, oh, my gosh, I've just killed my dog.
Yeah.
And she hit that rapid,
For a boot.
there was a rock, and you could see her little dog hands grabbing the rock.
Oh, my gosh.
And she grabbed the rock, grabbed the shoe, and then jumped onto the shore. It was very heroic.
What a heroic dog, yeah.
She was and she got out of the water as quickly as possible, so she's not stupid either. And she brought the boot back and put it on the shore next to the other one. And
don't ask me to do that again.
That was dumb, Mom, on a couple of levels. So I get out, and I'm on the other side of the thing, and I am soaking wet from head to toe. And also my boots now, or at least one of them.
It's thoroughly
soaked.
And I stood there for a minute thinking, if I can make this many rookie mistakes, and I'm only 100, I could literally still see the truck. Maybe I shouldn't be hiking. And I did think about still doing it. I thought about it, and I went through my list. I'm like, my sleeping bag's in a dry bag. It's still dry. I have dry base layer, top and bottom, that I can change into. I only have one wet boot, and I have the socks are still dry. And then I have my other dry pair of socks, and I have my jacket, and I have my gloves. And I thought about it. I thought really hard about it. But then I was like, you know what? I made this many mistakes
already. And
this
it's later in the day already.
Yeah,
at
it's
this
like
point.
2 o'clock by now, and the snow is closing in up high. I'm like, this is dumb. You got to know when it's when to pull the plug.
Yeah.
And that's something I always do when I'm by myself. And I learned that from the fire crew is trigger points. So you're out there hiking along, and you're like, if I don't make this spot by such and such a time, I'm going to turn back.
Yeah.
Or if the weather changes, or maybe not turn back, but I'm going to stop and reassess my situation at least and see if the plan's still viable, or if I need to make another plan. Or I'm going to hike until, maybe I'm going to say I'm going to hike for 2 hours, and then I'm going to turn around no matter how far I get. Or if the weather turns sideways, if it starts snowing, I'm going to reassess my situation. So just, don't just be so goal oriented. Oh, I'm going to get to the spot. Be a little more flexible. And I think that's a great way to maintain the safety. And then don't rush. That's what the river thing was all about. I was in a hurry, and I started making stupid mistakes, and also to recognize that you're making the stupid mistakes.
Yeah,
and
quitting sense. Is really important.
But sometimes it's hard to identify.
Yeah, it is. And
I mean, I had moments. My dog jumped in the water, and I saw them bobbing, and so
bye, dog.
I immediately. I don't know what I thought I was going to do. Immediately dropped my pack and everything and jumped in the water to save him. And then by the time I was in the water, he was behind me going,
what are you doing?
Mom, what's going on here?
What are you doing?
Do I need to save you now? Yeah.
Oh, maybe I don't need to save you as a dog who likes the water. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So the voice of reason in your head is there. You just have to remember to listen to it.
Right. Key into that.
I feel like if you can do that, then you can go into the woods safely alone.
And
but you got to think about it.
It can be spontaneous as long as you already have a pack ready to go. Yeah. Like you need to make sure you have what you need.
And if you're not Shelly and you just want to go take the dog for a snowshoe, just tell somebody where you're going,
what route you're taking,
what time you should expect to be back, and who to call if you don't come back.
Right.
Yeah. So just very basic, because terrible things can happen 400 feet from the truck,
case in point,
or 10 miles in the backcountry. So we have to treat all the adventures with the same level of caution.
Yeah.
And for people, because we don't want to scare people, but we want people to be aware of what they're getting into, especially when you're by yourself. Other creatures exist. It's their home that you're going into. What should I be aware of so I can safely enjoy their territory?
Well, I'd say the elephant in the room is probably bears.
Yep,
I'm guessing that's where you were going with that. And even snowshoeing. I saw bear tracks after Christmas last year. And I've talked to other people who've said they've seen tracks in the snow every month of the year. Not a lot, but enough to remember that that's still a factor. And make your noise, take your bear spray, and pay attention to your surroundings.
Because it works in the winter like it works in the summer.
You don't want to let it freeze hard, so I wouldn't leave it in the truck all night. But
there you go.
I'd rather have it than not have it.
Yeah.
Yep. We did a podcast episode on the Alice Creek Historic District, which is in the Lincoln area. And the Lincoln area is working on expanding the recreation that's available to people. We've never been in that area.
We have recently heard about it.
But we talked extensively about what that area is like. We said it was pretty. We said
it's very Montana-y.
Varying history in that area as well.
Do you have a favorite hike you've done in that area? Well, I should start. Have you ever been in that area?
I have been in the general Lincoln area, but I don't know if I've been in the specifically Alice Creek area.
So
I might have.
They have built some pretty spectacular bike trails up there.
Yeah.
Bicycle,
okay.
mountain biking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Human-powered bikes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I mentioned was we were on our motorcycle in the area on the scenic roads because it's absolutely gorgeous up there.
Relentlessly scenic.
Yes, but not on a bicycle, not pedal power.
There's some good lookouts up there too to visit.
Yeah, from the...
Some of them you can even rent.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's fun to know.
Can you rent the one near Showdown?
No, because that
Okay.
one, the ones that are in service during the summer, you can't rent
Okay.
because they're full of equipment and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But
And people.
and
Yeah.
people
And their dogs.
and their
Yeah.
dogs or cats. But some of the other ones that are still in good shape but no longer being used, and there's one over by Lincoln. I want to say Granite Butte is the name of it. I think that's on the
Okay.
rental roster.
Oh.
And then there's some that are staffed that a person can visit too with either a short. You can get there by ATV or you can park and then hike the last few miles. And that one I'm trying to think of the name of, but it's fleeing my brain at the moment, so I'll have to get back to you on that one. It's on the north side of the road.
Really quick interjection question. So the lookouts that we're talking about, they're, tall. You mentioned dog. Like, do you strap like a 70-pound dog to your back and climb up a ladder? How does the dog go up
They
there?
have stairs.
Okay. I'm just picturing
Well,
like just a ladder that goes up. And I was like,
let's-
how do we get a dog up there?
Let me clarify. Most of them have stairs, but
Okay.
I've seen some pretty gnarly pictures of some in the old days where it's stairs and then it's a ladder.
Yeah.
And most of the ones that are still in service are going to be pretty accessible, though. Like,
Okay.
should be doggable.
I was just thinking about like, I have dogs, but they're 40 and 70 pounds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, that's kind of a lot to
That is a lot on
huck up
yeah.
on my back on a ladder. And he
No.
wouldn't really go for that either.
I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would enjoy that.
Anyway, that was just my interjection.
We've talked about trail systems, and I love hiking, but I usually go with someone who is the map guy,
Yeah. There's one.
So I don't
in
have
every
to
group.
worry about that.
Yep.
'Cause really, nobody wants me leading the endeavor by reading a map. And, they've got all these new fancy apps like, oh, I'll just download this and then my GPS will tell me. But I don't trust them. So talk to me about the mapping services. If you're going to start as a group or just do some small hikes and you don't know the area, you're going to likely need a paper map.
Yeah. Paper.
Yeah.
A paper map is great. Let me tell you why.
Never goes offline. It never runs out of batteries.
It never runs out of battery. You never drop it and shatter it so that you can't read it.
Yeah.
That never happens.
If you
with
drop
paper.
it in the creek,
I was like, it could float
It's
away.
still
Yeah.
it might float away,
Yeah.
but you could chase
could
it and it
still-
would still
yeah.
work.
yeah.
So there are lots of apps. Everybody's got a favorite app. Everybody's got an opinion.
And I think
Use whatever app you want.
they're a great tool to use to supplement the paper map.
Yes,
I have another fun story about
but you
finding the map.
you still have the paper map in the bag with you. Period.
You have all the maps.
We try really hard to have all the maps. It's a big state.
Oh,
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
No
there's a lot of
understatement
maps.
there. There's a lot
it's
of
the
maps.
fourth largest in the nation.
Yeah.
Right.
With
It's
a
like-
lot of open land.
It's like
yeah.
bigger than France or something. It's
A
really
lot.
big. So our particular section of the state is a little less densely populated than some other areas of the state, and we're very grateful for that. But that leads to a few less detailed maps, like recreation focused
Oh, yes.
maps for our area of the state. But there are some pretty good ones, and we're constantly looking for more and finding more and
trying to keep them in stock, and some of them topo maps are becoming problematic because
remember when you would in
and
the
they-
old
and they'd
days
have the big map catalog.
you would go by your
We're doing with our arms so you can see how big the maps were.
yeah, it's like the size
This
of a coffee
big.
table.
Yeah.
And you would buy like 6 of them and you would tape them together
Yeah.
very carefully at home, and then you would have you plot your trip
big
on
map.
it.
Yeah.
Right? And so that really doesn't happen anymore. There's a great thing from the USGS where you can customize and order your own map for the section that you're looking at the
Ooh,
scale that
fancy.
you want, which is
Wow.
amazing. Once
at
you
that.
know,
Good to
once you
know.
know where you're going,
To really
That's
zoom
great.
in on it.
Yeah.
but to figure out where you want to go, a recreation map that's available at your local outdoor store is probably what you're after.
I keep mine on my nightstand and I read it at night, planning and dreaming about my next trip.
So then
You are a special kind of nerd, are you?
I told you.
She
I
has
love
very
it.
serious focus
Yes.
in certain
I
aspects
love
of her
it.
life.
And I just love maps also.
Yeah.
I really
Well-
like
Well, then it gets
maps.
ingrained. It's kind of like then it's getting ingrained in your subconscious, right? If you're like reading
Right.
it to fall asleep, it's like getting
You're absorbing
It's in the
it.
back of your brain there. Yeah.
And Rebecca, you were saying how you let someone else do all the
Oh,
mapping,
yeah.
which I mean is fine, but I would still, I would highly
Still
recommend
look at
that
the map.
you still at least look at it and go, okay, it's kind of a loop, and it goes
General
in this,
concept.
Just get the vague.
Yeah.
But what if the other person gets hit by a rock and
Yeah.
you've got to rescue them?
Then you're really
Or they're
SOL.
vindictive and they're just wanting to leave
Or they
you out
just
there
leave
into
you in
the
the
dead.
woods.
So-
I mean, that's a thing.
This is a fun story. My husband, one of the original Adrenaline Boys, we take our child every summer and we go backpacking. And he got this great idea that we needed Garmin watches so we could track our distance and our elevation gain and
Okay,
our
yeah.
steps and
all the numbers.
So we need to know.
all the things,
Yes.
right? Because I don't, whatever.
You need those
I
stats
needed a
about
watch
your
that
life.
tells me what
Yeah.
time it is. That's what I need. So when we would go hiking, we would look at the maps together and things, but he would be the one that would closely monitor it because he has better wayfinding skills in the woods than I do. I have better wayfinding skills in urban settings.
Yeah, that sounds like
I'm
me and
quite
my
helpless
husband.
in
Yeah.
our town. That's why
So-
Beth drove us here.
Right. So when we're in the mountains, Shelly is telling us where we go. When
Yeah.
we're in Rome, I'm figuring out
Yeah.
how we get there.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay if I can find the river.
That's all she's looking
Look
for.
at some water.
Yeah.
so my husband famously would just say, "Oh, it's just like, like 3 more turns on
Yep.
the trail,
Just
and
around
then
that
we'll
bend.
be there."
Yeah.
One more
just like
corner.
just like another half mile, just like another half mile.
Uh-huh.
It's just like another half mile, and then I think we'll be there.
Uh-huh.
And then, but then you got us these watches,
So then he
So he
know
knows how
the
long a
half
half
mile.
mile is.
so now we know.
when he's lying. Yeah, you're like
So that kind of
the
backfired
bend
a little
that's
bit.
7 more miles. Yeah.
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 So technology.
I am
Spoiled
always
that.
suspicious. I went to Tower Rock State Park. Had a great lunch there, and I was looking at all the areas because I had done a hike already. I wasn't planning to do a hike there, but I was like, well, how far is it? And it says 0.25 miles. I'm like,
That's like
not
walking
very
across
far.
the Target parking
right.
lot.
So I'm like, that seems not very long. So I'm like looking at the trail. I should be able to see the end of it at
Right.
0.25
Yeah.
miles. I'm like, I think that's a lie because the trail disappears well past 2.25 miles. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this yet. I believe this sign is a liar. I'm going to have to go back and get some information
Yeah.
to be
And
able to
verify.
do this correctly.
Yeah, and that's an important reason to talk to other people in your local area because though we love the Forest Service a great deal,
Their sign
Their-
budget is lacking.
yeah. And so one thing that I personally find challenging navigating out there with my map that I think I'm all prepared and I know where I'm going to go and I'm going to go to the 3rd road from here and I'm going to go left.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, only the roads that are in service
Are
are on the map.
Oh,
So
not
those-
exactly ones
that
that are
doesn't
in existence.
Correct.
Yeah. So it could be the 5th road on the
Yeah.
left.
That's
Yeah.
confusing.
That,
So-
that map concept, I believe, I remember that came out, and I threw a big fit, and the Rangers like, it's too late, it's happening, stop arguing and learn to live with it, because I think someone in the Washington office that had never actually had to read a map before came up with that idea. That's my
Yeah. I
hypothesis.
I think a lot of that happens. But
Yeah.
even, the state parks, who are wonderful, have the state park map for Sluice Boxes State Park.
Right.
That's a real map. It's a good general idea of what's going to happen there.
Are those the ones
yeah,
we have in our
general-
drawer out here?
Yes, 100%. And I will tell people, I'm like, hey, You're going to get to this point, and then it's going to diverge.
Free for all.
Yeah. And that's not shown on this map.
Right. There's no little arrow that says like this way.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll just tell you, I took both of them, and they all end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're good.
So don't worry
So it was
about
fine. And the consequences were low because
Right.
you were just at sluice boxes.
But
Yeah.
But
Still.
there's some times where you're like, this is not
Right.
supposed to be here.
so you got to not just look at the trail in front of you and the map in front of you, but you've got to put your head up and look for landmarks,
Yeah.
like
surroundings.
rivers and peaks.
Yeah.
And
And it's
you
going to
know.
look different depending on what season
Yeah.
you're there.
Oh, yeah. It's so much different with snow on the ground.
So much fun.
Yeah. Leaves, no leaves, tree. Yeah.
That's why
Rain.
I love the River's Edge Trail.
Yes.
Very
The
simple.
It's an
paved
out and
part.
back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see civilization still.
And if things get really bad, I can find cell service and just call Stefan and go, hey, you got that buggy? You need to come find me.
Help.
Come
Yeah.
get me. Bring me back.
Yeah, and cell service doesn't
Yeah.
work
No.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
in a lot of the really
I
pretty
think
places.
that's probably one of the biggest things our visitors are surprised by is how little
How little
service
cell service
Yeah.
there is.
there
Yep.
is. I
Yeah.
mean, even on major 2-lane state highways,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like,
You're
I
in
should
and
have
out of it the
service.
whole
Like,
way.
Yeah. Like
Not
I
until,
lose
like-
service on the way to Showdown, you know?
Right?
Like, yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
yeah.
Easily.
We all, the people who drive these roads all the time, we know where the cell service
Yeah, yeah.
comes in
Yeah.
and out.
You see a
Or-
guy pulled over there on the phone and pull out.
Yeah.
That's my last spot.
Right.
Or when you are backpacking or camping or skiing in the backcountry and you get somewhere and your phone goes like, bing, you're like,
Oh,
hey,
this is a point. Yeah.
I didn't
Get a
expect
bunch
to
of
have service
messages.
here.
good
Yeah.
thing to remember.
Yep.
Like I could get a text message out from here if I
Yes,
had
like
to.
in my brain, remember this spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's the funnest part. We spend a lot of time in the Little Bell Mountains, and we all know where the few spots
Right.
are.
If you
Yeah.
stand
need
on
to
your
coordinate.
left foot,
You're just gonna need to lean a little bit.
lean,
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
and
right.
a bird
Don't
doesn't fly
move.
over.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Mm-hmm. And if the wind is just right. Yeah.
Unless there's a storm coming, then it doesn't work.
Then-
Yeah.
Yep.
All bets are
But
off.
there have been so many times we've been up in the mountains where our group is looking and we're like, do we really need to communicate that? You know, it's because you're going to have to leave the mountains
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you
Is it
want
worth it?
this to be
Right.
shared or known, or how
Yeah.
important is the thing you left at home? Is it worth driving out?
Yeah.
Mountains?
Right.
Right.
If it's
to
your
do.
trekking poles, the answer is yes.
Yes.
You know that now.
I know that now. Yes. And also I try and keep my backpack fully loaded so that I don't forget the things, but I still
Yeah.
have to go through it every time just to be safe. now.
Yeah. Have your own checklist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they make those satellite communicators too if things
Oh.
are really
Yeah.
sideways.
Oh, yeah.
Beth and Chris bought me one for my birthday one year because
Oh, that was nice.
Beth is a mom and no, she's not my
I am the
mom.
voice of reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
That's
listen
me.
to
They're
her.
like, hey guys, you're out there by yourself a lot and I know what you drive.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily
It's very
a
likely
good
you
I
could get
wasn't
stuck
really
at some
concerned
point.
that she was gonna fall and break her leg
Just
or
like break down somewhere.
get up
Yeah.
close and personal with a bear, but
You
know,
never know.
Yeah.
It's the things you don't intend to happen that get you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
so
plan for that.
Those little satellite communicators have become a really powerful tool for people.
Yep.
And
If you're going by yourself, even if you're not going by yourself, we have actually an older gentleman who came in the shop and bought one not too long ago, just because he and his wife like to go park their trailer somewhere where the phone doesn't work.
Yeah.
oh, and then you can still, if your family needs to get a hold of
Yes.
you, they can
Yeah.
still say, "Hey, emergency, you need to come
Yeah.
back."
Yeah, or I fell
Mm-hmm.
and I'm at my trailer and everything's fine,
Fine, but I
can't
hurt.
drive myself out of
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went in a beautiful January ride in the Little Belts on 4-wheelers into a cabin. And then we were going to turn around and go back out, group of 4 people. When we got in, took longer than we'd expected. The weather was a little bit worse than we had
Right.
anticipated.
Classic
and
story.
so we're like, well, we didn't pack anything to stay. We're good. We'll drive out. And the old people, the heritage members of our crew who were planning to spend the night at this cabin said, oh, you can go out, but we'll all go with you. And we're like, no, because then that means you all have to come back in and it's going to be really late. And we're like, yep, that's the deal. Either you spend the night or we all go out together and then we have to come back in.
Yeah.
So, we're like, but
Yeah.
So you need to have a little go bag on your four-wheeler now with a toothbrush and
That-
clean underwear.
But our dog was behind because it was just going to be a quick
Right.
trip. And so we had to use the satellite phone to call out to have
To
somebody
say,
go get our
"Hi."
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Just our dog is
Yeah.
now stranded.
And that's something that we use it for a lot. They make a really small one now. It's called a Garmin Mini, and it's
smaller than that mouse.
it's like the size
wow.
of a pack of gum.
Yeah.
It's really small.
Huh.
And you can just, my husband drops it in the pocket of his bike jersey when he
Yeah.
goes out to ride his bike.
Nice.
And that way, I know where he is and I know what time he expects to be back. But he can send me a message that says, everything's fine,
Yeah.
but I got a flat tire twice.
So I'm going to be
Sounds
So
like
I'm
a, sounds like
be
a real
late.
story. Yeah.
But then I'm not spiraling
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
thinking, do I need to find somebody
Yeah.
to go with me to go out and find your body? You know,
That's my one anxiety about like not having services. It's nice like to not have that, but that's my one thing of like if
Yeah.
I'm camping or something, I'm like,
right.
but what if something
Yeah.
happens?
And
you
these
know?
services now, there's different subscription plans. They all require a subscription plan, and
Of
we're all
course.
used to that for everything in our lives now. But there's different levels. So there's a kind that if you have it turned on, it drops breadcrumbs that your friends and family can log into, and not
Follow.
everybody,
You can just
but like
see
you
it
can
on the internet. You can
say,
choose
oh,
who
look,
you share
there
it with.
goes Shelly.
And there's where she's at.
Oh, she stopped at the creek. She's
Yeah.
fine.
For the
Yeah.
record, I am too cheap to pay for that plan.
Yeah.
I got the bargain basement plan, and then I
Yeah.
just try to remember to send my free
Right.
check-in messages, and I send them all to Beth because she's the one that got me the silly thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So her sister gets one and I get one.
Yeah.
And then we know that she's made it to camp for the night and she's fine.
And
Yeah.
then they can see exactly where I camped. So
That
if,
is
I,
helpful.
So
if I
if
don't check in with them tomorrow, they know
they
where I
can
was
send
last.
somebody. Yeah.
Right.
How much do those like the physical thing itself?
They are
Run.
not cheap.
I wouldn't think
I
so.
want to say they're
yeah.
like $400 now. Is that right?
Three to four.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just put it in perspective. How much is your life worth?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
it's
that's
less
the
expensive
thing,
than
right?
a phone.
It's
Right.
like the guy.
I got a nice insurance policy on my husband. I can tell you what his life is worth.
right.
I'll
And
pay $400 to find it.
Yeah.
and that's what you have to think of it as. Think of it as an insurance policy.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
nobody wants a ride home in a helicopter.
No.
Right.
But sometimes
Sometimes
you
it
really need
happens
one.
that.
Yeah.
And
Or sometimes you find someone
better option.
else who
That
really
needs
needs
that.
one.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put your
That's
life at
true.
risk trying
That's a
to
good
save
point, too.
somebody else who wasn't
quite as
quite as
Wasn't
prepared.
smarter.
And even if you don't feel like you need it, like it makes my mom happy to
Yeah.
know that I have
Yeah.
it and that
Yep.
I'm checking in. And I did put her on the list finally. But if I forget to check in, I hear about it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because she's paying attention.
There is a
And
Yeah.
dark side to this though,
Mm.
because
They-
some elk hunters forget to turn it off and
Okay.
they go to the bar. And their wife can see where they are.
Like,
Busted.
oh, you've been in this one spot for a while. Yeah.
Wonder what happened there.
I
Elk
don't know.
hunting.
I'll be home tomorrow. Well, you're at the bar, so
Yep, you're home.
So
maybe tonight.
Yeah.
depends on how many beers he had. He might be sleeping in the back of the truck in
Yeah.
the parking lot.
Anyway. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a good place to sleep sometimes. I've been there.
Do you have a? yeah. Do what you got to do. Yeah. Be safe. Besides dry clothes, poles, things like that, what other are good essentials to have with you that we haven't talked about, or what's your best snack recommendation to have
Ooh,
with you?
I'll let Beth talk about snacks.
Okay.
Well, in the winter time, I feel like it's very important to take a snack that you can still eat if it happens to freeze solid.
Not,
Ooh, right.
not a Snickers bar. Nougat is not your
Ooh,
friend.
Yeah,
when it's
yeah.
frozen.
That's a really
That's
great
a hard
way to
one. Yeah.
break a tooth,
It really makes you
lose a crown.
you just have to.
Yeah.
Cashews
Yeah.
are really nice because they're easy to chew no matter what state they're in.
Yeah.
And they have a lot
Or
of
you
calories
just-
and electrolytes. And
Yeah.
You have to remember to put your favorite bar on your inside pocket of your coat.
Okay,
Maybe
so
not your
little
outside
warm.
pocket.
Uh-huh.
So something that's very calorically dense is good.
So
Not
like cashews, almonds, things like that.
cashews, almonds. Everybody has seen all the different bars that
Right.
are out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's energy bars
Every
of
bar.
every flavor. I'm very partial to the Kate's bars because
they have real things in them.
they're
I do
made of
like them.
actual things. And
Yeah.
if you read their label closely, it says pocket meal on them, and they're not kidding. And then flip it over and look
It's
at
like
the
350
amount.
You're like,
calories.
okay, you don't eat these while sitting at your
Right.
desk.
This is not like my daily breakfast bar
no,
kind of thing.
that is
Yeah.
like I just hiked my butt up a mountain.
Yeah.
And I
Need to
Mhm.
Low
refuel.
blood
Yeah.
sugar.
And they make those for dogs too. There's
really?
doggy snack bars.
Nice.
Yeah, when the dog starts to tank, a little food,
That's a
just
really
like
good.
the rest of
that's
us.
good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll try to like have a little. I'm not doing your level of things, but but when
Really,
it, when,
Shannon?
when it was like really hot and stuff, right? We
Oh,
were hiking.
yeah.
We have a ton of water, but that too, because I try to have a few treats
Yeah.
or whatever, but
And
those usually aren't
something-
super calorie dense.
Something easy to digest for the dogs too. I tried these jerky treats once,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
she
that's
just
a little-
threw them up
Yeah.
undigested.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so sad. I felt bad for her. So
And
now I'm
nothing
doing
yeah.
more milk bones and peanut butter.
Or you think
Yeah.
you'll just give the dog part of your power bar, and then
Yeah.
that
It's
results
not
in
that
some
great for them.
digestive
Yeah.
consequences for your friends.
I might have to. Do you guys carry the Kates for dogs?
No, it's
Okay.
a different brand, and we're currently out of them.
Okay. Well, when you get them in, I'm
Someday
gonna have to
we'll
stop
have
by and,
them back.
and get
One
some.
day
Yeah.
they'll show back up in the store.
I'm
Yes.
sure any of our independent
Pet store.
pet stores in town would have them, like
Okay.
Fetch or
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
Tails
Fetch
or
has
somebody
everything.
would have some.
Mhm.
And then I think it's really important to carry a water filter with you
Yeah.
yeah.
all the
The-
time.
I can't tell the story about my husband and the water filter because this is probably a little more PG than that. But let's just say Giardia 30 miles into the backcountry is
Not
not a
fun.
fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pleasant.
Mhm.
And I have
And
a
you
fire
don't-
crew friend who's now scarred for life because he saw my husband walking through the woods naked in the dead of night trying to wash his poopy underpants.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's amazing. Oh my
Jeff
gosh.
will kill me now.
He'll never hear this
Hey.
because he'll never
That's
listen to
true.
it.
Yeah.
we
But
can
My
say anything we
husband
want.
had an
filter.
incident with cabbage, similar.
Yeah.
So- It
yes,
happens.
water
It
filter,
does
no
happen.
cabbage. That's the lesson here.
What's
And then-
going in is going to come out one way or another.
Yeah.
Yep.
So think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another important thing would be a first aid kit. Actually, went
Yeah.
hiking with someone once who's like, I never carry a first aid kit. I'm like,
Huh.
What is wrong with you?
What if you, you don't mean to get hurt, but what if you do? Or
Right.
what if you come across someone on the
Right.
trail and she's like, I'll just let them die. She said it with a straight face too. So I hope she was joking.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
There's
maybe not.
levels though between dying and like, okay, it would
Yeah.
be great
Like, I
to
have
wrap
a
a
blister.
Band-Aid around
Right.
this.
Yeah.
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 Oh my
And-
gosh.
You're on
know.
your own.
Yeah.
You knew that when you walked in here.
Yeah. I guess I've injured myself enough in my life. I'm like, I'm going to need that. Well,
Yeah.
the first time I needed it, I wasn't even injured. This is another dog story and involves poop. This is all my stories. We
These
were,
are the best
These
ones.
are-
yeah, we were camping, and it was this is why I struggle camping places other people have camped, because there was a poorly buried latrine pit, as it turns out, and I did not know that until
Oh,
my dog. What kind of
found
dog
it.
do I have
A
again?
lab.
A lab.
And what do labs we do? They
did-
retrieve.
Yep.
They
So
smell things.
Yeah.
She
Dig things.
brought it to me, and I didn't know what it was. I just knew she shouldn't have it from the look on
She
her
had
face.
something in her mouth and she was real happy.
And so I
proud of
said,
herself.
give it to me. And she said, no, and turned her face away demurely. So I grabbed her snout and I reached in there and I took it out. And as I got my hand around it, I realized what it was.
Ooh.
And I was experimenting with fast and light, ultralight backpacking at the time.
So
and,
you didn't necessarily
and
have...
I didn't have enough soap. There was not enough soap in the world. So I had to break into the first aid kit, and I used all the little alcohol wipes.
Yeah,
I used
yeah.
the iodine thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I used everything because, I hadn't eaten dinner yet.
Oh, right. And you're like, I'm going to need this hand for something. Yeah.
And
mhm.
I am literally 10 miles from the nearest soap. I mean, this was, and yeah, it was horrific.
Yeah.
It's the things you don't see coming,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
with everything.
So even
yeah.
though no one was bleeding, I still needed the first
first
aid
aid
kit.
kit.
Kind of a lot.
Yeah.
That's the-
actually.
That is a
Disinfectant.
big need.
yeah.
A
And
big need.
we've done first aid. I'm trying to think things we've used our first aid kit for.
Yeah.
One of us walked across a ground nest of hornets.
Oh.
And the first person was fine, and the second
the
person
second
got
person.
nailed. So Benadryl
Yeah.
makes for a great afternoon nap by the creek.
Yeah.
You just
But a lot better
Yeah,
than the alternative.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the person in our group that always gets hurt is our dog.
Oh, yeah. Socks and duct tape.
Is your dog's
Yeah.
name Rebecca?
No, his
Should be.
name is Koa. He's very sweet.
He's brown.
He's brown. That's his dominant personality trait. he
He has not a short turning radius. He's not what I would say is athletic.
Like a wide load kind of
no,
situation.
he's
Yeah.
He's just long.
Sounds like
yeah.
my spirit animal.
He's 90 pounds and he's very handsome
Yes, and very lovey.
and very
Yeah.
lovey and very sweet. And he looks like a big scary dog. We got him from a rescue up by Rocky Boy, so he's
Nice.
He's a North Central Montana brown dog.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Those are good breeds.
Those are good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so he looks like a German Shepherd but not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Some other stuff.
Whatever.
He's
Rottweiler.
genetically diverse.
Uh-huh. I like, yeah.
He has hybrid vigor
big
going
culture.
for
Yes.
him.
Uh-huh.
Does he
A lot
though?
of culture.
Does he though?
Yeah.
Because he has an amazing knack for just hurting himself, doing not very much.
He gets high centered easily, even though
gets-
he's very tall. His leaping ability is
His springs don't always work
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
the front end will go over, but the back end.
The back
Oh
end
my gosh.
fails. But what happened to him really bad one time, and we've worked very hard not to have happen since, is that we did a hike that my husband did all the time when he was a kid, and it'll be fine.
Of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Begins
Just around the bend. Yeah.
me on this hike. Is this child endangerment? Are we? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Did I make the right choice in
Yeah.
spouse?
Yeah.
I made based on his description of this hike, I made the wrong choice in footwear for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But the other wrong choice was that we didn't bring the boots for the dog.
Okay.
Those are key.
And there was a big scree field that we had to cross, which was bigger than he remembered.
Of course.
And rougher on the little dogs,
and
the big dogs.
Yeah, he's a big dog, and he's a shepherd, so he's trying to keep track of everybody all the time. So he's back and forth. He's going 6 times the distance that the rest of us are.
Uh-huh.
And he tore pads off on every foot.
Oh,
no.
poor thing.
And he's not brave. So
yeah, so he's a very much a baby about
and
it.
so we were like, oh crap, this is bad.
That's also a large dog to have to
He's
haul
90
around.
pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no.
So like,
I had to carry 50-pound Madison once when she was a pup,
and so
and
you
that
start
was-
thinking
yeah,
about how am
that
I
was
going to
rough.
get this
Get this
90-pound dog up out of this
Yeah.
this scree field. And the answer is Chris is going to carry
Yeah.
him.
Uh-huh. So it's his idea. Yeah.
'Cause he forgot the dog boots.
Yeah.
So he was fine, and we got up, but we used all our extra socks and duct tape and just
made little shoes for
made
him.
little shoes for him.
thing.
He got out, and his life was not in danger. This was not dog
Right.
abuse.
No.
Like we did
This
everything
is
we
just what
possibly could
happens.
to
Yeah.
It happens.
make sure he was comfortable. But
Yeah.
so you need a first aid kit for your
dog. I
dog.
think about
Yeah.
that too.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of the same stuff as it turns out, and then shoes.
Yeah.
Madison has the same problem when we go over the really rocky stuff.
Yeah.
Headquarters Pass is her nemesis because it's so sharp, those rocks.
Yeah. And you don't necessarily think about it because you're like,
Right.
oh, it's a dog. They run
Yeah,
around.
they're
But then
fine.
it's, especially if they're not used to
Right.
that
If
too.
they've been on like smooth pavement or
Yeah.
river cobbles, that's not going to toughen them up as much as like limestone. That stuff can be pretty
and
sharp.
then like something furry runs,
Yeah. And then Koa sprains his
and you're
knee
compelled to investigate at a high rate of speed sometimes.
Yeah.
And we all work very hard at keeping our dogs from
Yeah,
doing that, but
they're
we all
dogs.
know
They're wild
that
animals. Yeah.
it happens once in a while, and that's when you wreck your feet, when you see a marmot and decide to
That's
go
the only
vertical.
thing you can focus
'Cause,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't feel the pain when they're
Oh, no.
in the process.
Yeah.
of-
On the hunt.
right.
Yep.
So
That's good
And
to
then
remember.
actually the musher secret I really like too because I can put it between her toes when she's wearing her boots.
Is that
so
the,
she
like the
doesn't get-
ointment kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
it's
Yeah.
like a wax.
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
chapstick for your feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it kind of lubes her up so that when she's wearing her booty, she doesn't get blisters between her toes from wearing the boots. So it's like
Yeah.
the boots are a two-edged sword.
For snowshoeing with your
no,
dogs too.
I always
Keeps
keep
their
some
feet
with
from
me
getting
snowshoeing.
The
wet.
and
Yeah.
the snowballs that
Yeah.
get stuck between their paws.
We all hate
paw
snowballs.
pads. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or if it's really cold, it gives a little bit of a barrier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to keep the dogs
My dog's
happy.
kind of a weenie with holds his
Right?
paws like he starts doing
Dogs
the like
need gear too,
prancing
right?
thing.
Like how do I stand on one foot?
Yep.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yep. I got Madison the whole backpack now, so she can carry her own shoes
yeah.
and she
Nice.
can carry all her own food, and she can carry half a gallon of water
Yeah.
if we're going through a
And
dry
that's
patch.
good. Watson has a backpack too,
Nice.
and it's good. It gives them a job. It
Yeah.
gives
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
burns off some extra energy. So
Madison gets so excited when I get her pack out. I'll hold it open at dog height and say, "Put on your pack," and
Yeah.
she will run and put her head through the hole, and then she freezes
'Cause
when we
she's like,
buckle it on.
Strap me on.
This is gonna be amazing. We only wear this when we're
when
doing
we do something
amazing.
fun, yeah.
It's amazing
loves
how
her
they
pack.
remember
I
those
know.
things.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, as we wrap up, tell me your favorite trail in this area. You can't go out of this area.
Summer or winter?
You pick the season.
You do summer or you do winter. You do whatever you want.
Okay, so we're back to square one. I think my favorite trail is the one where I was trying to cross the river. Actually, it's Reardon Gulch.
Okay.
And then you can loop around and come out Green Gulch. It's just so pretty, and people skip it a lot of times.
How long is it?
Well, if you do it all in one day, it's about 18 miles.
Okay.
But one could do it an overnighter, or you could just go up to the top of the pass on Reardon Gulch and back to the truck, and that would be about 9 miles.
Okay.
And it's really pretty on the pass.
Yeah.
Beautiful wildflowers even in July.
Ooh. Okay, Beth.
Okay. My favorite trails are all in the Little Belts.
Okay.
Because
That's where you go.
my jam.
Yeah.
So in the winter time, I love to hike or ski up Jefferson Creek,
Oh, yes.
which is just a road
Yep.
in
By
the
a
summertime.
creek.
Yeah.
I do love Jefferson Creek, though.
It's open.
Yeah.
There's a creek right there. There's no motorized travel on it in the wintertime, so you can let the dogs run and not be worried that a snowmobile is going to come whiz banging around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's my favorite, like, oh, I just need a little morning,
Yeah.
Yeah.
attitude adjuster.
Yeah.
And then for a little bit more epic adventure in the Little Belts, I love to ski down the O'Brien Creek Trail
Oh, yeah. That one's
from
good.
Showdown down to
I was
I was
Nyhart.
going to say, is that the one that connects?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's definitely could be type 2 fun depending on the day.
Yeah.
And definitely one that you need to be much more prepared for. It's not the drink the coffee hike. It's the
More
Let's go have an
advanced
adventure.
skill
Make sure
set.
you're hydrated hike.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Real
Yeah.
advanced skill set.
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not advanced, but
But not beginner.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not-
not alone. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're Dave.
Unless you're Dave Broquist, but he's kind of special.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We're not
All
Dave.
people.
No.
No. I don't know Dave, but I know I'm not Dave. Yeah.
yeah. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Shannon, do you have a favorite trail you're going to share?
Ooh. We were just talking the other day about how I did in the Rogers Pass to Flesher Pass with my dad many years ago. And that one I remember being fun. And of course, there's some great ones in Glacier as well. But just around here, I mean, I love Memorial Falls. I mean, I know it's really popular, but it's there's beautiful waterfalls, and you can go past it. You just go off
You just keep
roading a
going.
little bit more, but
Yeah.
you just keep going. And I do love that up there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And honestly, South Shore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
I was
that's an
gonna
area
say-
I haven't explored a bunch yet.
One of
That's
my
worth it.
favorites is Sulphur Springs Loop on
Yeah.
the River's Edge
That's
Trail.
a good one.
I
Yeah.
just really love the Maroney.
Yeah. That side of the river
Trailhead.
is so pretty.
It is really pretty.
Well, and you see too, we did this last summer for the first time, and I didn't realize, is it Belt Creek, I think, that comes in there?
Yeah.
Because we were just hiking along, I'm like, oh, what's that creek? Where did that come from? You know, you're just like, oh, it's a whole other, it just surprises you, I think, the landscape up there.
Yeah. And there's so much Lewis and Clark history out
Yeah,
there, too,
totally.
for the history nerds.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
For all you Lewis and Clarkies.
That's what we're calling them now.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's your name now. You're a Lewis and
Ooh,
Clarkie.
I remember when I did in the Highwoods too, I think at the Windy Point.
Oh, I heard
yeah.
good things about that
It
one.
was, you know, windy when
Windy?
we got there, but that one, yeah. And
That was
Watson, my dog, did that one with
Yeah,
me. We
nice.
did that as a
Yeah.
group, and I did really enjoy that one.
Maybe you didn't really understand the question of
I
favorite.
picked one.
Yeah. A favorite.
Well, there's different kinds
I'll
of
go
hikes
with that one. Yeah.
for different kinds
Yeah.
of days.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
different
I
kinds of
picked-
trails.
that is true.
I picked that one. Okay, the one in the Highwoods. That's my
Okay.
favorite.
Which is just a reinforcement that it's hard to
It's
pick
hard to
just
pick.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you pick
As
one?
you asked me, I'm like replaying in my head, like, where have I hiked? And so then that's more what was
Yeah, and so
happening.
I'm like, ooh, and
Yeah.
then to go backpacking,
Yeah.
and then my favorite one is this
then
one.
that
yeah.
one.
And then
Yeah.
And then, well, what about you, Rebecca?
Yeah.
Well, it's the most impossible question to answer.
Isn't it though?
You
For
said
this
Sulphur Springs.
Sulphur
Yeah.
Springs, I really like. I love Sluice Boxes State Park.
Yeah.
Just the upper portion when you walk
Yeah.
out to, you have to walk past all those tree roots and
Yeah.
get to the cliff and then go down and back. But yeah, there's just so much to explore.
Yeah.
So get out and explore, people.
Yeah,
That's
so
what,
many
That's
options.
what Great Falls is for.
And now you're equipped mentally on how to tackle it.
And we will always send you down to Bighorn.
Yes. Go talk to them. Get equipped.
We'll get you
to
started.
Yeah.
Look at what you need.
Get
talk
your
to
paper maps.
people smarter than I about the map thing,
Yeah.
the trail systems, because you're really going to need to know that stuff
Yeah.
when you're out there.
Yeah.
We're outdoor life coaches.
Ooh.
Oh, and I guess that's one more thing to add in. If you're female and you have uncomfortable questions about what to do
during
at certain times in the woods, we are not embarrassed to talk about that.
That's great though, because those are things you
that's
think
the thing.
about and you're like, well,
And your
how do
husband
How do
is
I do this?
and your husband is not going to know.
Yeah.
They won't.
He's not
It's
gonna
not
be
even on his
helpful.
radar.
That's
So
great.
We are
Yeah.
happy to help with
Okay.
any of those uncomfortable girl questions.
Along that weird thing,
We like weird things.
Yeah.
do you have the toilets that are not flushable type of toilets like you would need to start taking on the Smith River or?
We do not.
We
Okay.
have wag bags.
Sort of, yeah.
If you don't know what a wag bag is, go
That sounds
Google
like a dog
it.
poop bag.
There
Yeah.
we go, and you can
it's
get
like
that.
a dog poop bag for people.
It's
Okay.
Okay.
similar technology to some of the girl things that
Okay.
Yeah.
jellifies all the
Yeah,
goo and
the
But
stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
waste management in the outdoors is
Is a-
really
yeah.
important, and it's something that you have to learn,
Yeah.
just like anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that's something you don't think
And
about necessarily.
Think about my
'Cause-
dog in the
yep, your
latrine
dog
hole.
could bring-
Surface poopers are
Yeah.
not. You guys are not nice.
Not
people.
recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and on more popular trails, it becomes a real
does.
issue.
A thing. Yeah.
Yeah, is there a bigger bummer than being on a
Oh.
hike and coming around a
Nope.
corner and just having a bush full of toilet paper?
Nope.
Somebody actually made a sticker and gave it to us to distribute at the store that says toilet paper is garbage too,
Yeah.
because he was so sick of going on his favorite trails and there's those little white flowers streaming
Yeah.
over
Everywhere.
the trees. It is just,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Not the thing. So all questions can be
Yes.
answered.
All questions.
Every
Footwear,
question.
clothing, electronics, maps,
Bathroom,
human function.
Hygienes. Yeah. All
Yeah.
there.
All the
All
things.
equipped. And it's not just hiking. You can do your kayaking, your biking, your skiing, your snowshoeing, your moseying. I
Yeah,
mean,
moseying is
just-
great.
Be outside.
yeah. Get outside,
We
enjoy.
don't care how. Just do it.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing your
Yeah, thank
expertise.
you.
We can't wait to have you back to talk
Yeah.
about
We'll be
something
back.
else.
Yeah. More
and
adventures.
No joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I will likely end up snowshoeing. So part 2 of the
That
winter
story,
adventure,
yeah.
Watch for photos.
Uh-huh.
family
Coming
winter
soon.
adventure that might come.
Yeah.
This will be an episode of itself. So thank you
Yes.
so much. And listeners, thanks for listening along. We really like telling you stuff. We hope you're there because that's the funnest part of this. We don't really know if you are. But if you are,
Hello.
rate, share with people that
Yes,
you've
please.
listened. Don't keep it a deep, dark, dirty secret. Tell the world what you're doing.
Subscribe, all the fun things.
And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, beautiful, healthy face in Great Falls, Montana, we hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you are. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.